Making another video. It's mostly about unconditional love, and I think that's a new transition that we're entering, is a state of unconditional love and peace and joy. And I think that's where we're headed as a human species. We are learning how to embody unconditional love and kind of be loving towards others. It's something that Jesus wanted us to practice. I mean, I think his most important commandment was to love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, but to also love others as you love yourself. And I think that's the era that we're entering, is to be unconditional love towards others. But in order to become that, we also have to let go of certain things that don't serve us. And this requires a lot of healing. And I've been doing a lot of healing as of recently, and kind of knowing myself entirely. Kind of inquiring about certain beliefs that I used to have, questioning my own identity, questioning almost everything that I believed in. And that's the thing about this new shift that we're going through on Earth, I think, is that people are kind of figuring out who they are, and they're creating more. They're entering this new reality. And that's where I think I'm stepping into that. Because if you were to ask me a few years ago, I wouldn't be able to make a video like this or kind of put myself out there in public and just kind of like talk about what I'm talking about now. And I think this is a transition for us to be creative. I've noticed a lot of people are kind of like leaning towards their creative side. They're creating videos, making YouTube channels. And I think that's a great thing. I think it's perfectly fine to become who you want to be, whether you fail or succeed. At least you're doing something with your life that makes you happy. Rather than doing something just to get money. And I get it. Right now we're still living in that survival mode where, yes, we are trying to survive, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But I think we're entering a new stage of life where we're going to have to trust in God. We're going to have to trust in the universe, our spirit team. And it's hard. It's something that I'm working at. I'm not perfect. But I'm doing something in order for me to feel more expressive, to be my own person, to create something that I feel is necessary. Again, a lot of the things that I say are just opinions. They're just the way I see reality. Everybody has their own perspective on how they see reality. The people that might walk past me might have a different reality than I do. And that's totally understandable. I think it's perfectly fine to have your own opinion, to have your own beliefs. But at the same time, I do believe that we should also be more open-minded to other people's opinions and kind of see people as yourself. Because we're all learning how to live this life, and it's not easy. This life where it has tons of challenges, and we have to go through different adversities in order to succeed in life. But I think failure, or whatever we choose to be, I don't think we should be putting ourselves down because we're trying. And even if we fail, I think it's more important to love yourself in those moments of failure, to be with yourself when you failed. And I think that's the challenge, is to love yourself even when you made mistakes, even when you've done things that were horrible. I think it's important to not shame yourself or judge yourself. But again, my words can be taken into different contexts, or into a different context. I don't mean to you should love doing shitty stuff to people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to just love yourself for making mistakes. It happens. I think we're not here to be perfect. We're just here to learn and enjoy this life for what it is. Of course, we're not going to always get what we want, but I think God will deliver a gift that is 10 times better than the thing that we expected. So I just think that now is a time for us to kind of grow and to grow in our relationship with God, whether it's believing in Christianity, having your own beliefs in God, like believing that there is a, an omniscient, omnipotent Alpha and Omega being up there. I think our relationship with God requires us to surrender and trust God. But whatever you believe in, I think you're just in the right place at the right time. Even if bad things are happening to you, just remember that you're always loved, and it's up to you to find that love for yourself. So, thank you for listening. Much love to anybody that's taking in my words. If it's not resonating with you, always remember to discern for yourself what makes sense for you. Because again, my reality may be different than yours, and things might come to you differently. But just remember that God is always with you, and the universe is always with you if you allow trust and surrender to the Most High. Thank you.